So this is going to be a simple tutorial on how to build a NavMesh and to do some AI stuff. I've got a scene set up already just to show you kind of what I mean. We'll go ahead and click play, and this guy's going to navigate to a point over here somewhere. See, gets there pretty nicely, and then why is my clicker not working? Oh, because I changed, changed something without paying attention to it. All right, there we go. So I've also got it set up for clicking. So you can instantiate little AI guys and they all run over there. This is very simple. It's a one-point pathfinding. We're not doing waypoints or anything yet, but I'll show you how to set up that scene here. So let's create a new scene. Then we're going to need to set up a few things in this new scene. We're going to want a plane to navigate upon. I'll just scale it up here. And then let's change the name of the plane to terrain. Then we're going to want some obstacles, so we'll just make a cube. Scale it up a bit. Just make sure that it is hitting the plane, that it is in contact with that plane. Let's maybe put a light in here just to make sure we've got some. There we go. Yeah, okay. And then let's do a long one. Okay, so just a few obstacles here, nothing crazy. I do have some materials set up to be able to differentiate things a little more easily. Okay, so with setting up with using AI, Unity has this really nice built-in thing called NavMesh. The NavMesh is just a feature that essentially bakes a mesh, or it takes the information that we have set up, this landscape information, this terrain information, and using some parameters decides and creates a new mesh or new layer that sits on top of it that has margins, and it's essentially defines the navigable space for the AI. And we're going to do all of that by making the cubes a child of the terrain, marking them all, and all static here. That way they're not moving, so the nav mesh can actually work with them. And then you want to bring up your navigation window. So if you don't have it up, go ahead and just go to Window and then Navigation. Got a couple of different options here: Object, Bake, and Layers. All the default settings are fine. You don't really need to mess with anything. Layers just defines different layers of the nav mesh. You've got Default, which is everything, not walkable, which is kind of obvious, and then Jump. Bake. This bake setting is just like, what is the radius of your AI collider called NavMesh agent? What's its height? What's the max slope that it can walk up? What's the step height? If you're doing stairs, stuff like that. So all of this stuff is fine. Just go ahead and hit bake. I guess we'll save this in. And then you should have this nice blue overlay pop up. You'll only ever see that if you have the navigation tab selected. If you don't have it selected, you won't see it, but it is still there. So we don't really need to worry about it otherwise. The other thing you want to do is set up an object, a prefab of some sort that, actually that's a terrible color. Okay, that'll make it easier to see it on top of the nav mesh here. So you want to set up a prefab, just some object that is going to be your little AI guy. You want to give him the NavMesh component, so you can go to Add Component and then just type in Nav, and you want NavMesh Agent. All the default settings are okay. This is the radius is the height of the collider. So if we kind of look at it here, it's the cylindrical green outline. The speed, it's, how fast is it going to move, acceleration, all this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Auto repath, is it going to figure out another path to the set point, set destination point. And then I have a script on it called AI behavior that we're going to look at in a sec. Well, let's look at it right now. So AI behavior is just a script I've written that looks for the destination target by name. So it does a GameObject.find, looks for the name, and grabs its transform. Then we're setting up a variable called agent, which is the NavMesh agent. We're going to grab the component NavMesh agent, and then we're going to set the destination, which is a part of this component, to target position. So the variable target, we're going to grab its position. Then we're going to wait for 2.5 minutes before we destroy the object. That's just a cleanup item here I put on there. It's optional, you don't need to stick it there. If you're instantiating a lot of guys and they don't need to be persistent, then it's recommended. It's just for optimization. So it's pretty easy. It's a pretty simple script. This is only 1-point navigation. We're not doing anything crazy. We do need to, though, set up a game object, an empty game object. So this will be our destination 1, which I guess is set right on top of it. So let's kind of find a place. Let's put it over here. Got some, yeah. As long as it stays in the blue, and it's pretty close. You can see this NavMesh agent. That's the blue part here. It's pretty close to it. It's good. All right. Let me grab the camera, move it up. Just set the camera up so we can kind of see where it's going to go and what it's going to do. All right, save the scene. Okay, so now we just need to tell the target to go to destination 1, and it should do it. It just walks right over there. So it's pretty easy for it to figure out that path. There wasn't much in the way, but what if I wanted to put more things in the way? Well, I can go ahead and come in here and add a few more obstacles. Maybe not. We gotta bear in mind that radius that we're talking about, so maybe not make them so gigantic, but still kind of in the way. And then we just come back over to terrain, navigation, and bake everything. You want to make sure that you're copying or duplicating objects you've already got set up in here. And if you don't, then just be sure to mark them as static before you bake the NavMesh, otherwise they won't be part of the NavMesh. So it bakes pretty quickly. We'll hit play, and figures out his way there just fine. Well, what if I want to click them? What if I want to do what I was doing in the other scene and I want to click on a certain spot and have one instantiate there? Well, let's create a game object. We're going to call this guy AI Manager. It just needs to be, it doesn't matter where it is, it can be anywhere in the scene. Its position doesn't matter. But we're going to use a script called AI Clicker. So we're going to set up a variable called spawn object when it's transformed. And then in update, we're going to look for the left mouse click. We're going to then set up two variables, ray and hit. Ray is just going to grab the point on the screen that we have clicked on. And then variable hit is just going to be a raycast hit. It's a type raycast hit. Then if the physics, if we've got a raycast happening, then we're going to pass it the parameters of ray and hit, these variables we've set up here. Then if the collider of hit is on a game object called terrain, which hopefully it will be, then we're going to instantiate the variable that we've set up here, spawn object, at that point, hit.point, with its own rotation, quaternion identity. That's just what that's setting up. Otherwise, we're going to say you didn't click on a train. So really simple. That's about it. And this will work for anything that you pass that object to. Anything you pass this variable to will be able to do that. Oops. Don't forget to put the script on the object. And then also give it a prefab to instantiate it. So that is pretty easy. And then we'll all go over there. So, all right, that's how you do it. It's really, really easy to do. You know, it's up to you then to set up different behaviors for the AI to do once they've been instantiated, once they've gone about and done their thing, they're in the world. You know, you can. I mean, it's a snowball effect after that. You know, in terms of complexity. So, have fun with it, and I look forward to seeing what you do.